Now I'm looking at a Saab 9.3. This has got the 1.9 TID engine in. This isn't starting. So what I've done is got 4 pits up on the scan tool. No fault codes, looking at OBD. I've got the boost pressure, the mass airflow, the engine speed, and the fuel rail pressure. I'm going to see if I can get a direction to go in. I don't know if this has an electric pump in the tank yet, but I'll look that up in a minute. Here we go, got the boost pressure, blue, engine speed green. Now that scaling's not going to show much of a change because of how it is. They've got the airflow in turquoise, and the purple or violet is the one that I'm kind of thinking it'll be. So I'm going to crank it and see what happens. It's cranking fine, there's no problem with that. There's a raise in the grams per second, engine speed, the fuel rail pressure stayed basically the same. 430, it went up very slightly, kPa. That's not what we want. We want bar, like loads of bar. Oh, it doesn't want to start now. Oh, there we go. 430. That's the one we'll go for, I think. I'm going to see if it's got a pump in the tank. I really can't remember. I'll find out. And if it has, I don't hear it making a noise. So if it's not making a noise, that's probably why, if it's not working. But it may not have one. It might just suck it up to the engine. But there's that direction. Fuel pressure. Okay, I had a wiring diagram that showed a fuel pump. I couldn't get to the fuel pump under the seat, so I've lifted the car up enough to get to it. I'm in the power side of the fuel pump wire. So why is it showing green for a ground? That's because it's still plugged in, and the other side of that wire will go through the fuel pump and eventually go to a ground. And we're seeing the ground. If I put the key on, we should have a prime, and we don't. And if I crank it, we should see power, and we don't. So what I'm going to do, I leave that there, I'm going to give it power. Sorry, I'm trying to get this all in one shot, but I can't really do it easily. I'll try again. Right, I'm giving it power. Okay, it's running. Got 10 volts at the fuel pump. Car's running. So already we know what's wrong with this. Volts is at 11.8 roughly. So I'm giving it power. If I let this go, it will die. But just to show you it is charging better than that, I'll have to unplug the wire that's going into there, but that'll cause it to cut out. I'll just show you. See, it cut out, but the voltage went up first, so that shows it is charging. It's just, it was giving that current to the back, to the fuel pump under the car. Now all I've got to do is figure out, why is it just a fuse, or is it a relay? It took me a while to find this. I'll show you where the relay is. Get a light in here. So I'm on the driver's side of the car, it's a right-hand drive. I don't know if it would be on the other side on a left-hand drive, but it's up here. See that relay? Nowhere near the fuse box or relay box. The fuses, and there's a couple of relays on that side behind the glove box that I've taken out to get to the relays. It's not them. And those fuses are okay. And there's a bunch of fuses and relays under the bonnet by the battery, and there's some in the back of the car in the boot. None of them, and it wasn't very clear on the wiring diagram, but anyway, here it is. That wire that's discoloured is the grey one. So, I'm still connected under the car to the fuel pump using one of these probes. So if I crank this, this is what we've got at the fuel pump. The battery's a bit dead, so yeah, there we go, it's working now. I think I've already disturbed that relay right there. When I've had a look at this, I've just moved it a bit, because that was doing nothing, and I started wiggling this wire, and it's changed what it's doing. So, see that cut off after a prime? I think if I start the car with a jump, Got the jump pack on the battery. We should be okay to get this going now, but I will have to make that a better contact so it's more reliable. So I jump started it, started fine, like started just straight away. And there's the voltage we've got at the fuel pump. So this relay's okay. I'm going to wiggle these wires here. I might even just put a new relay on it for them. But it's all good. That's staying red the whole time I'm wiggling the wires. Oh, there, I lost it momentarily. Right, there. What is that? Okay, I'll check these wires for contacts. You see I've lost it a couple of times. I'll get back to you. Here's the wires and the plug. It's actually melted at some point. So the wires aren't that good in there. So I'm just going to put a new connector on and a new relay and see how we get on. But here's the relay for the fuel pump and the diesel, right in there, and there's the problem with it. So I'll fix that, put all the other trims back together. I took them out whilst I was checking it. I had no idea that where the relay was. I could see on the wiring diagram that it had a relay. It wasn't listed in any of the fuse boxes though. It kind of didn't indicate this. It took me a while to find it, so a bit of extra time put on this that wasn't needed, but that's partly why I want to share this video in case somebody else has the same problem. This is where the fuel pump relay is. I've used these crimp and then heat shrink connectors. I know some people hate them and they say learn to solder. Well, I can solder, but I find these really useful, and when I saw like Super Mario using these in his Diagnostics, and I thought I don't know anybody better than him. I know, yeah, there's people as good, but if he's happy with them, then that's certainly good enough for me. And yeah, these are good. They've always been fine for me. And also my other thought is, if a crimp connector's no good, then why do we have stuff that pushes together? Surely they would have to be soldered if this was no good. That's just pushed and allowed that to be good enough, in the same way that you know, like that relay I did on I don't know if you saw it, but I recently did a Mercedes where the relay was soldered onto a circuit board. You'd have to have every relay fitted that way and not just pushed on. So I'm figuring, what's the difference? It crimps there. It's only going to be pushed together a little bit further down the wire, the same as the standard, how it would have been from new. You can see what the resistance does, I suppose. Maybe if it was soldered, yeah. If that was soldered all along, maybe that resistance would never have happened over years, and that wouldn't have happened, and it wouldn't have broke down. So I can see that, but I don't think this car is planning to be on the road for that much longer, and as long as we keep it going for now, they're happy with it. Anyway, that's what I've done. This came with the wires, and we've got a relay. We'll put it back to where it was up there. And I think that's the car done. I've just got to put all the stuff back that I took off that I ended up not needing to, but then that's just part of a diag. You test things. I've only fitted what was needed. So there's no guessing, trying apart and seeing how we get on here. No Diagnostics. This is Diagnostics. So let's see if we still have when I turn the key. That's green now. Where did I put the key? Here's the key. If I turn the key, does that turn to red? Yes. And I heard the relay click on. Turn it off. So it's working as it should do. Just going to give it a minute to switch off. There. Fuel pump. So it's doing exactly the same as it would before. I put some of this Tessa tape on it just to make it look a little bit better as well. So there we go. Happy with that. It'll do for this car for now. Just got to build it up. Okay, the car's done. It's back together. The battery was a bit dead, so I'm going to see if it'll start. Yeah, it is doing. So the car starts. I think they're going to be happy with that, with the age of the car. I'll just show that's it behind me. It's working. Thanks for watching.